comic books made more sense. You know it is fictitious without pretense.
Hello, today I thought I'd take a look at Captain America 365 from, I think this is 1989, because it's an Acts of Vengeance crossover. Acts of Vengeance was a crossover event that went through all the titles rather than annuals. It was all the titles at the time. The idea was the villains swap places with each other so that superheroes would fight villains that they weren't really familiar with. In this one, it says Submariner goes wild and he's fighting Captain America. So Captain America is fighting his brother in arms, Submariner. Why would that be? We'll find out. Captain America at this time was fairly exciting. I like these. Just after this period, sales slumped, and then they did the whole Heroes Reborn thing. I'm not sure how far sales went for that to happen. Because, you know, each issue was a cool fight. Captain America being tested somehow. It was pretty good. So here's an ad for CastleVania II. Although I do love the key art here, it obscures the actual screenshots, which kind of sucks. But yeah, you know, also you can get the original Castlevania and everything. Castlevania was a big deal. I remember playing the first one for the first time and being floored by it. It was a lot of fun. I rented this. I don't think I owned any Castlevanias. Castlevania 4, that's a long story. I tried to buy it, but was discouraged at the store and never bought it again. That's a story for another time. This is a great, like, splash page of the Red Skull with his little cigarette holder. And here you have the credits in very in a lot of brevity here. It's like a Grunwald, Dwyer, you know, like just the last names of everyone: Macchio, DeFalco, Triumph, you know. So Skull is displeased with Crossbones. He failed him at something. In walks a mysterious dude. And this is around the beginning of this whole Acts of Vengeance thing. So this guy is creating the Acts of Vengeance. And he's recruiting people. And he wants to recruit Red Skull. And he has all these powers. Like he's being encased in bars. And then he just goes through the bars like they're drapes. And these ropes are trying to hold him. But he just like shrugs them off. And he's like, I'm glad Doom and Magneto were more receptive to my offer to join me in this big thing. And he's like, Doom and Magneto. And so Red Skull grudgingly accepts. And then the guy disappears. And he's like, who the devil was that? So I'm going to reveal this because this is like, you know, 1989. This guy turns out to be Loki. He kind of looks like Tom Hiddleston here. That's why when they cast him, I was like, yeah, he kind of looks like this, right? You know, in normal guys without the like, you know, looking like a human, without the big armor and everything. Here is Cap, and he's going to Avengers Island at the time. And it's sunk and he doesn't know why. And in a previous issue of Avengers, robots destroy the island and sink it. But he doesn't know that yet. Here's Sky Shark for Tato. This is what video game ads looked like back then. Just a lot of text that like kids wouldn't really read through unless they were really interested. Here's another one for Operation Wolf. Operation Wolf is awesome. Top-down Jeep shooting people game. Great for joysticks. So Cap takes Diamondback with him. This is the Rachel Lighton Diamondback. I don't know what it is with Marvel reusing names. I guess they forgot about like Willis Stryker from the Power Man comics. But Rachel Lighton, later on there was a character named Debbie something, I can't remember. Different character. Diamondback is a former member of the Serpent Society and hooks up with Cap. Cap convinces her to renounce her ways. She falls in love with them. It's a whole thing. She was in Cap Comics for a long time, so they're dating. They're together. But But as Cap points out here, she's not an Avenger, and she's upset by this. He's like, I gotta deal with this myself. It's like, you get out, right? And she's all mad. It's funny. So he lands, and all these people are like, Cap! And then she storms off. She looks upset here, right? It's hilarious. Even I was like, yeah, get rid of Diamondback here. After this period, I swear that he was with Circe. Like, Cap got around, man. I'm pretty sure he was with Circe in Avengers, at least in time for Atlantis attacks, which is around this time. I thought they were together. Am I wrong? Anyways, Useless Jarvis is like, oh, robots came and couldn't do anything. Quasar was here, he couldn't stop it. Meanwhile, and he keeps saying sunk, you know. Meanwhile, Namor is swimming around and trying to find. It's a whole thing with Namor at this point. He's trying to find the spawn of his dead wife, and his spawn is like part alien or something. It's a whole thing. And he encounters someone, and this turns out to be Loki, but he can't see him here. And he's like, join me in my cabal of villains. I've got like Doom, I've got Wizard, I've got Wilson Fisk, I've got all these guys, join us. And he contemplates this. He's like, whatever. He's having another falling out with humans. Here's Acclaim. Video game companies tried their hand at making peripherals as well. So, like, here's a whole, I think this is a wireless system, which was revolutionary in its day. First experimentation with wireless controllers. It probably didn't work very well. I'm just going out on a limb and saying that. So here, Red Skull enlists Crossbones to capture the Controller. Controller is a villain that, I can't remember exactly his backstory, but his power is that he has these control discs that he puts on someone, and he controls their powers and everything, and makes them evil. Controller, shortly after this, the way they wrote Iron Man, he basically kills Iron Man in that he makes Iron Man evil. So Iron Man turns evil, no one knows why. The readers don't know why. And then they're like, oh yeah, we have this character called Controller. Why don't we just say that he's controlling him? So Controller had controlled Tony Stark to go bad. The Avengers go back in time and get Tony Stark as a teenager, bring him forward in time, and fight Iron Man to the death. That's about the time I left comics. That was like in the mid-90s. After that, they did Heroes Reborn. Marvel Comics has been pulling shenanigans for years. Anyways, right now, Controller is being captured by Crossbones. Here's a WCW video game featuring the Road Warriors. That's cool. I love this illustration as well. This was in lots of comics at the time. So, Red Skull is a proposition for a Controller. Meanwhile, Cap is still trying to figure out this mess. Namor goes back to the Avengers and discovers that Avengers Island has sunk. He's like, what happened here? And he's swimming around. He's like, furniture's gone. I don't see anyone injured. He cares about them, right? But he gets attacked by the Controller. Controller slaps a control disc on him. And apparently he can gain the powers of whoever he controls, so now he can breathe underwater. Avengers, I remember Avengers being very popular at this point, at least in comics. This jet was in the arcade game. And that arcade game was pretty big. And it was big on Genesis and Super Nintendo. I had the Super Nintendo version, and it sucked. The hit detection was awful. The Genesis version's far superior. So anyways, they're flying around Liberty Island, and he gets attacked by Namor. And he falls, and this is a great fight. So Namor then plunges Cap deeper and deeper into the ocean. And and Cap is desperately using his shield to block these blows because, like, Submariner is really strong. He chops him just to, distract him, and swims away, but gets grabbed and uses his shield to smack like Namor's fingers, and then swims off. He makes it to Liberty Island, but then Namor comes. This is a great panel. Namor comes out of the ocean and just swats Cap. Cap uses his shield to defend himself, and then also block the blow against the base of the Statue of Liberty. And Namor smashes the Statue of Liberty base here. Great fight, great blocking. And you can feel all the impacts here. So Cap feigns like he plays possum. He's like, oh, I'm down for the count, and he realizes how dangerous that is. But in the right moment, he swats his shield onto the base of Namor's neck. He had noticed that there was something there, and he had figured out it was the controller's control disc. So he's smashed this thing, and Namor's writhing around in pain, and then slumps down. So Cap's defeated him by incapacitating the controller's control disc. Here's the U-Force. I remember the hype around this. I never got one myself because I figured it wasn't going to work. Back then, all of the things we take for granted now that work today, like wireless technology, VR tech, we knew back then it was the beginnings of this stuff, and it wasn't going to work as properly as they say. I think the Power Glove really taught us a lesson. But this thing, I don't know. I'd have to look up online what this really actually did. But apparently, you can control video games by not touching anything at all, just putting your hands in here and doing something. I don't know. Weird stuff. Border bun, a bunch of shysters. Anyway. So here's Red Skull meeting with the big meeting of villains. Wizard is a character that people don't really talk about anymore, and he's not used much in MCU unless there's some sort of cameo that I've missed. And he had a team that usually fought the Fantastic Four with Dragon Man and Titania, etc. Here's a Taxan game. I guess it's an NES game, but they don't show you in a video game shots or anything. So that's shady. So that's the end of that. That Cap has defeated Namor. Red Skull has joined the team that will be the Acts of Vengeance, etc. So here's a backup story with the Serpent Society. And here's a new leader, Cobra. And Cobra is nervous because his old partner in crime, Mr. Hyde, is at large and had vowed to kill him for betraying him in some crime. And so the Serpent Society is like, I was approached by this mysterious dude to join this cabal of villains, which will be the Acts of Vengeance. And it's like, think about that, dismissed, right? Here's a Ninja Turtle cereal from Ralston. Ninja Turtles is a little bit after my time. I still collected the toys, but I was like 15 or something. So, you did it on a down low, right? And I watched the cartoon, and I did collect the Archie comics. I love those. But this cereal, I never tried it. It's Ninja Nets, which are like they look like Shreddies, but like, oats. And Ninja marshmallows of different, I guess the different colors of the bandanas. And green as well, because turtles. So here Cobra admits that he's like a coward and everything. The Serpent Society, I remember them being Marvel's stand-in for the Clan, essentially, like a hate group. And here they're just by the late 90s, they're just a bunch of snake-themed villains. Here's Marvel, the Incredible Hulk countdown. I have some of these. I never collected the last one, 367, to see who it was that poisoned Hulk. But here he's fighting Abomination, the female Thing leader, and the mystery person. I'm sure this is a great story. No one really talks about this anymore. I'll go back and read these. I mean, there's a big like splash page advertising it, so it's probably awesome. It's Peter David, so um, so here he's confronting his fear and his cowardice by bombing all the old hideouts that Hyde had. And Hyde's like, "Who's doing this?" And then he goes to the one last hideout and confronts Hyde. And Hyde is in his human form, and then it grows into his Hyde form. And then Cobra's like, "Well, it's now or never, man. Do or die. Like confront my fear now by fighting this guy." And then that's it for the next issue. So here's the Lighters page, American Graffiti. Here's Diamondback here. Here's a subscription offer on the back of most Marvel comics at this time. Uncanny Xmas savings. Here's a Clearasil commercial. They were big around this time. These pads, they didn't really do much, in my opinion. And there's a TSR Dungeon board game commercial. So that's what was going on in Captain America in 1989, Acts of Vengeance. Great cover. You're like, oh, I gotta pick this up. That's what was great about Acts of Vengeance. It was all just fights. And interesting fights with pair-ups you wouldn't really see before. So pretty cool stuff. I hope you had fun going through this with me. Take care.